Is my lighting okay, Jim?
Well, let's applaud Eddie's lighting, would we? All right.
Am I shiny?
It's very shiny.
Okay,
Well,
good.
it's that time again for some more Geek Vice, the official podcast of watching grass grow.
What? And I don't even know how to respond to one.
God, you can adjust my camera.
You make it sound like we're terrible. But anyway, what we got here is episode number 82. Welcome, everyone, to Geek Vice, a podcast by two geeks just trying to be heard in a world now flooded with geeks. My name's Morph. That guy's Kip. We've got another special co-host on the show here, a nerd from Grayskull whose throne is a lawn chair perched upon a pile of comic books and video games. It's Eddie from the Doug and Eddie Show. Welcome, Eddie.
Thank you, boys.
This is where we need the applause, but
I know, where's the applause?
Kip sucks at applause.
Hey.
I applaud myself.
I keep forgetting about it, Eddie, because the sound effects work, but I can't hear them.
Oh, no.
It is the most bizarre thing.
Can Kip hear him?
I can hear him, but Kip cannot hear him.
Oh, that's no good.
So he has no idea they're coming on. But we brought Eddie on here for a couple of reasons. One, we've got big, huge things from E3, and he's a big E3 follower as well. But then also later in the show, our main topic is about video game censorship and the craziness that went down with the game called Hatred. But to start us off, Eddie, what did you see that you liked from E3?
E3, man, it's crazy how you could be a fan of this stuff, and yet E3 sneaks up on you so fast. It's kind of like Christmas. It's like, didn't we have E3 yesterday? Oh, it's here.
Yeah, I didn't even realize it was today until I got like a tweet from IGN saying, "Come follow our E3 coverage on YouTube."
I don't even know what today is, so.
Yeah.
It's Monday.
I know it's like 2015 somewhere in there. But yeah, no, my favorite thing, and I kind of cherry-picked a little bit on E3 today because I was, working, obviously, at the same time. But the things that poked out to me are, like anybody, things that interest me. The announcel.
Learning English with Eddie.
The announcement of Mass Effect Andromeda was big for me. I'm a big Mass Effect fan, and just that whole series. Mass Effect 1, not so much, but 2 and 3 certainly. And Andromeda, the trailer, look up the trailer. If you've not seen that yet, look that up.
Oh, yeah. That sucker looked cool.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see what the story is going to be for it, though.
Yeah.
Like, how are they going to tell a story? Like, what's the, I didn't play the third one. I'm trying to think of which ones I have. I'm trying to look through my boxes of games over here.
The third one is so good. Like, if you're a big story gamer, if you like story and you like science fiction, this is a really just well done game. It has so much working in its favor. I mean, yeah, is it perfect? No, but I mean, as far as a sci-fi compelling story, good gameplay, it was up there. And 2 is just as good in my opinion. So Mass Effect Andromeda, and the big spoiler here is that Mass Effect 2 and 3, the whole Mass Effect up until now series was set in the Milky Way galaxy. Now calling it Mass Effect Andromeda changes everything, and so now it's in a whole different galaxy now. So yeah, I don't know if it's the same characters or if it's the same. I mean, they've kind of linked some light story elements, but nothing else other than that. Mass Effect and also Gears of War 4 was announced as well.
Yeah, hey, Kip, tell Holly to turn her TV down.
Hey,
I was gonna say, is there a?
Aaron and Eddie said they can hear the TV.
I can't hear Eddie over the TV.
I thought there was like a.
You guys got an eye roll, so you're in trouble now.
Well, tell her I can't hear Eddie over her TV. So, and Eddie's a little more important.
Oh, don't say that.
Yeah, well, you can tell her that. You can tell her I said it. So, are you a big Gears of War a player, Eddie?
I wouldn't say I play it a bunch now, but Gears of War 1 through 3, I was a huge fan of. Gears of War Judgment was a misstep in my opinion for the franchise. I didn't like it a whole lot, but that was an example, in my opinion, of a game that kept getting better with each iteration. And then with Gears of War 3 being really the peak kind of that franchise. Yeah, I mean, gameplay-wise, it was just tight as heck, and also just the story was very kind of Michael Bay-ish. It didn't have a whole lot of story to it, but for what it was, it did it well. And as far as a game to play with your friends, I mean, it was a very kind of a good example of fun co-op gameplay, which I've not really experienced probably since. I mean, Halo and a few others have had similar kind of things, but Gears of War 3 was a really strong kind of multiplayer co-op experience.
So Gears of War is a lot like a Lego game then, right?
A lot, yeah. Very similar. No, it kind of is, because need's a strong word, but you do better if your other person who you're playing with is good at the game too. So if you both have pretty decent players playing and you have a moment where you get dropped, they can pick you up, and then it's a nice team element as you play through the game together.
All right, yeah. I haven't played any of them, but I want to say isn't Gears a exclusive?
It's an Xbox exclusive, Xbox 360.
Okay, so I mean, then I have no reason why I haven't played it, but I haven't.
Seriously.
So
Gears of War 3. You don't need to play the other two for story. I mean, you can kind of figure out what's going on. But if you pick up anything, pick up Gears of War 3. It's like $5 now. That's the upside to this.
Is it a third-person shooter or first-person shooter?
Third. It's kind of that over-the-shoulder kind of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I might actually be able to succeed at that. First-person shooters, for some reason, I do terrible at. So.
Yeah, I used to be terrible at those.
I
still am.
I was gonna say there's no used to with me. I try to play them every once in a while, and I get mad that I spent the money on buying a game.
I played Halo quite a bit, so I got better at it over time, but that was about it.
You know what's weird about first-person shooters is Halo kind of made me motion sick, but really? Call of Duty has no effect on me whatsoever.
Is it all the shiny textures? Is that what it is, maybe?
Maybe. I don't know what it is, truly, but it makes me motion sick. And we got Dying Light from the library for the PS4.
Yeah.
I played it for like 5 minutes, and I thought I was going to throw up. I was so motion sick.
Really?
Which is a shame, because I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. And then after a while, I was like, oh, this is bad. I'm going to have to put this down, close my eyes.
Is it how fast the camera's moving, do you think? Or?
You know, I think it is. I think, especially if you're indoors a lot, I think that's what gets me.
Yeah.
And Halo 3, I think, is what came with my 360 when I bought it. And there was a lot of time in the beginning in that base, and I think that's what got me.
Some of those first-person shooters have that, like, claustrophobic effect.
Yeah.
You feel like you're in a tight space, but you're not, so you're kind of like, ah.
Well, and that's always, that always seems to be my problem. Like, I can't look at things. I feel like I'm always, like, whipping around too fast, or I can't aim worth a crap, and
I hate getting hung up on the pebble. You guys ever have that happen to you?
Yeah.
When you're walking, you're like, I'm stuck, I'm not moving. You look down and you're like stuck on a rock that's like this big. And
yeah.
Oh.
Or my problem is I run into the corners because I turn too like I you're coming around a corner and you want to whip around to see, like, make sure nobody's shooting you down the hallway, and I turn too quickly and then run into the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, that always pisses. And then I get shot in the side of the head from somebody that I didn't
And
see
there you
coming.
go. The thing I will say about Gears of War is, kind of going back to the Michael Bay reference, is a lot of the characters are very like stereotypical, like, you know, the big guy with the thick neck is a big jock guy, and the scrawnier guy, he's the tech guy, and you know, and the giant black dude is like, let's go, baby. You know, it's like, oh, okay, so it's a Michael Bay movie.
Well, okay, Kip, do you have anything that... Did you watch any of the E3 stuff or follow any of the E3 stuff?
No, I actually work for a living, unlike
Okay.
you two guys. So,
Well, then here's something you need to look up because you will enjoy. I think you will want this game. And it is from EA, same people who did Mass Effect, Star Wars Battlefront.
Yeah.
Yes, I've watched the trailer on that bad boy, and it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
I got that baby reserved already.
That looked pretty freaking phenomenal. And then, of course, the one that you and your wife will love playing together is Plants vs. Zombies 2 Garden Warfare. That looks pretty funny, too.
We actually got that from the library,
Yeah?
and didn't like it so much.
Really?
It's a
All
different take on Plants vs. Zombies. It's like a third-person shooter zombie. Like,
Yeah. Well, that's what I thought he would like it because it looks very, like, it looks like a first-person shooter per se, you know, in the sense of you're just going around shooting the other people that are there. You know, that sounds like something right up Kip's alley there.
Well, it's actually fine for me, but when you play co-op,
Yeah.
there's just the one game that I could find, and maybe it's because I'm not a very good gamer, but it's basically defend the garden, and it's just onslaught after onslaught after onslaught, and after a while you're like, oh look, more zombies coming.
Yeah, and
they have the offensive mode too, where you play as the zombies too.
that's what's coming in the next one, in this new one. So
Yes. But I think the online stuff would be pretty cool, but we try to find games that she and I can play together.
right.
Because I do play a lot of Call of Duty and things like that, and she feels like a video game widow at times. So I do try to. So we get into the Lego.
Yeah.
Right now we're playing Batman 3 and The Hobbit.
Oh,
Not in the same game, but those are the two games we have ongoing.
those are both good ones too.
We're loving them.
Let's see what else we got here. We've got. I'm looking through the list of stuff here. I haven't
We're
seen.
on it.
Yeah, and well, partly because it's still going on right now since it happens. I guess
Some of
it's.
Oh, go ahead.
It's just, I guess, some of it now that it is almost 10 p.m. Central Time, so some of it's actually wrapping up. It should be getting. This last couple shows should be wrapping up.
How long is E3? Is it 2 days?
I don't know because it used to be over a weekend or like a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday type thing.
Yeah.
But now it's like they keep moving them up, so I'm not actually sure. I want to say that it's still probably 3 or 4 days.
That's a lot of time, man. That's a lot of video game.
Yeah, but a lot of the press conferences, a lot of the big stuff that you're gonna get is coming out today and tomorrow. Because Ubisoft went, and I believe Sony is going right now, which is why I've got nothing as far as what's coming out from them, other than one thing that I saw that I'm kind of excited for, and they released a video for their remake of Final Fantasy VII, and that looks really cool.
Did you play that originally? Did you play that in '97?
I did. I
He's gonna whip it out. Bam!
Right there.
Final
Right there.
Fantasy VII.
And on top of that, I can even go one better, and that I am playing it currently because I have a saved game going on Steam. Boom! I bought it for $3.
My copy is still at the office. Remember when I brought that in?
Yeah, that's right.
It's still at the office.
I've never played it. I'll be honest.
Now if you're looking for the best Final Fantasy game, I don't know that I would put it as the best, but that is a Final Fantasy game that kind of the first one that I played as far as I possibly could, so I was playing every day. I played it in college actually instead of when it first came out, and so it was one of those wake up in the morning, grab a bowl of cereal, sit down in front of the TV and play Final Fantasy VII, push pause, go to class, come back from class, grab my sandwich and sit down and play Final Fantasy VII. I was a really big nerd, and my wife didn't like me so much back then, but so I played that game a ton, and I liked it. I found it really hard and very complex, and it was one of those first video games that I played that was so complex that it required me to think and strategize more than just your normal stuff. And so it was the first game that fully enveloped me, and so that's why I like it so much. Going back and replaying it now with the old graphics, really, even the remastered graphics really isn't that good.
It's tough to go back.
Yeah, I mean it looks really bad, and there's times it doesn't look bad. It just looks old.
It's dated. I mean,
yeah.
When did you play it? When it was new back in '97?
I played it it would have been '99 when I played it. So still old enough to be, or still new enough to be high quality from back then.
I remember when it first came out, and it was the biggest. I mean, people were losing their minds.
Yeah.
Over this game, and I was never a big turn-based game player. It didn't seem intuitive to me, and so at that same time, while everybody else was playing Final Fantasy VII, I was playing Resident Evil 2. But that game scared the hell out of me. It was great. I loved that game. But yeah, no, your life wasn't different than mine. I was out of school actually, but I would literally work all day, go home, play Resident Evil until midnight, and then go to work.
Right.
But I lived alone, so I was fine.
Yeah, so that was okay.
I knew I was pathetic, but it was just me.
Ishabel's asking right now, what turn-based MMO or MMORPG games have you played and would recommend? I'm going to tell you right now, I wouldn't recommend any of them because I don't play MMOs or MMORPGs. I don't like playing with people.
I don't mind playing with people as long as I know them personally, and I already have kind of I could play an MMO with you guys.
Yeah.
But not with just random dude, Yeah,
and, the only MMO I've actually played in, and I don't even know if it really classifies an MMO, is FIFA Soccer 13, where you put together your team with and you have other players playing, so you play 3 or 4. You can play up to 11 people on one team. And we had 4 guys that got together and were like, hey, we're going to make this club and this is going to be our team and we're going to play every night we're going to play a game. And it got to the point where I'm just like, this is boring as hell.
Yeah,
I don't want to do this anymore, so I quit.
John, did you ever play any MMOs?
I have not. I've had friends trying to get me into playing World of Warcraft or something like that, but I know my personality, I would get sucked into that thing and lose my wife, lose my job, all that good stuff. So I've stayed away.
Yeah.
Well, if you're looking for a turn-based game, this one doesn't have... Well, I think it might have a multiplayer aspect to it. I haven't done it because, again, I don't like playing with people. But this is one that I've just started playing, and it's called XCOM Unknown Enemy. Which I know it's old. Well, it's not old, but the second one is coming out. I believe there's a trailer that's just been out, and they're going to even talk about it at E3.
Look at that.
But I've played that's what I'm playing currently on Steam. I got it cheap because it was on sale with their big summer deals, and I really like it. But it's very turn-based. It's tactical. And it's in kind of more of a futuristic time period. So you have, it's military tactics. So you've got 4 guys that you're guiding around. You want to set them up like, okay, you can throw this frag grenade over here. You can use suppressing fire to keep this, bad guy from jumping up and shooting at you while this guy flanks him over here and gets a clean shot. It's that kind of stuff. So it's assault rifles, rocket launchers, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
I enjoy a lot of turn-based stuff because I'm a very strategy and stat geek. So I like a lot of that stuff. Like Final Fantasy Tactics, I was a big fan of. Played the hell out of that too. But that's that's a fantasy realm type thing. XCOM is the first one that I've played where it was not fantasy driven.
Kind of sci-fi, isn't it?
Yeah, because aliens are what you're fighting. They're taking over, so you get to fight aliens, which is fun.
Damn aliens.
Yeah, but what do you guys think about? Did you see the Fallout 4 release from Bethesda?
I did.
What do you think about that?
Oh, I'm pumped.
Did you see what you can buy if you pre-order the game and buy the special edition?
The Pip-Boy?
You can buy the actual wrist Pip-Boy from the game. It's a replica, and it works with your smartphone. So somehow you connect your smartphone to it, and you can actually use this wrist device. I think that's awesome, and I'm half tempted to spend the $120 to get get it, because I think it would be cool to walk into work with a Pip-Boy on my wrist and have everybody look at me funny.
For a game that's because Fallout 3, and I have not finished Fallout 3. That's my little dirty secret.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, I still have it upstairs in my I was able to move my 360 into my room so I could play games in my bedroom.
Yeah.
So I still have it, but Bethesda Bethesda was the same developer for Skyrim as well, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
For Elder Scrolls. Those guys know how to make a good RPG, and
they do.
So yeah, I mean, for a Pip-Boy and a game like Fallout, $120 really is not that bad. I mean, you're getting a pretty good deal.
No, yeah. It's just whether or not I can convince my wife that yes, it's okay to spend this money on a game and a
birthdays,
device.
Baby.
Yeah, no, that doesn't happen here. I don't have birthdays.
Oh man, you gotta load your birthday with guilt like I do.
Dude, I end up. I think it was 5. No, how old's my oldest? 6 years. So it was almost 7 years ago. That or 6.5 years ago, that my wife bought me the last big birthday present that I was going to get, and that was the Xbox 360, because it was right before my first kid was born, and she's like, after this, all our birthday money is going to be spent on the kids, so you don't get anything big and fancy.
That's garbage.
That's total garbage.
I agree. But
I got a PS4 for my birthday this year. Come on.
But see, then I end up with things like this, and I'll show you what we got for my kid.
I don't make more feel bad.
Because I told you last time that we got Skylanders Trap Team that he's been playing. Well, now
that's fun.
Now we have Spyro's Adventure.
Oh, you're going backward. There you go.
We have Giants.
Oh, he's getting them all.
We have Swap Force.
Oh, my.
And we have 43 guys that we picked up from a garage sale thing. And I'm like, you know what? We spent $75, got 3 games, and 43 different guys. Not a single one was duplicate, and not a single one did we already have. So, I will gladly spend, instead of spending $120 and getting a Pip-Boy, I will gladly spend the $75 and get all this bucket full of guys, because
if you walk into work with all that strapped to your wrist, it doesn't look so cool.
That is true.
He has a special jacket made with him.
But I am getting hours of enjoyment watching and playing Skylanders with him. So
That is true, man. That is, you trade something for something else. That's life,
yeah, especially a life of being a dad.
I do. Birthday time, though, you could ask my family. I'm like, if I were to die, all of this goes away, baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
Present now.
Exactly. Give me what I want.
This is the one day a year. It's my day. Keep your Christmas.
So, okay, now here, Eddie? Did you watch the EA, the full EA live stream?
I did not.
Or the conference? EA actually did something that kind of. I know I'm probably the only sports fan, like sports video game fan in this group here, but they kind of pulled at my heartstrings a little bit when they introduced FIFA 16. They brought out Pele and did a little interview with Pele on the stage.
That's kind of cool.
That was pretty cool. Pele.
That is, at least. Jeez.
Did they add the corruption mode to that, where you can play an evil fat cat and just?
No, they haven't added it yet, but I'm sure it's going to be put in there.
What about the mode where if your team loses, they go back to their home countries and get killed?
That actually is in there.
Oh, good.
Been in there since 2.
Yeah, now they've, that's one of my big complaints with a lot of these sports games. I enjoy playing them, but I can't buy them every year because I can't justify spending $60 on the same game with just different
roster,
different graphics and different rosters.
Yeah.
So I buy every other year, and actually this one I haven't gotten. Let's see, I think 13 is the last one I have. So I didn't even go with my every other year this time because 15 just didn't look good enough. But 16, they've added some things in there. One of the things that EA announced that they're putting in all their sports games, which I think is kind of cool, is they're adding a they call it an assistant mode, or like a it's almost like a coach mode. So as you're playing, they showed it on the stream. I noticed it for FIFA, and it pops up above your guy as you're running along and says, "Here's your different, here's some of your options you can do." Like A does a quick pass, or RT to sprint, or So I'm wondering if the idea, or at least the rumor idea, is that this will kind of learn with you and kind of help you enhance your playing so that you can actually be better at that game. Because that was one of my complaints with previous soccer games and Madden games and NBA Live games, pretty much any of the sports games. After a certain point, you're just rinsing and repeating and doing the same thing.
Right.
And you figure out the little niches to get around the computer, and you just keep doing those over and over again. So I never actually felt like I got better. I felt like I just kept doing the same thing. And I'm hoping that this kind of concept can improve you, figure out, okay, hey, at this point you should try doing this, and this is how you need to do this move. And I think that would be kind of cool to help get people to play at that next level, move people along. And if that works, then maybe I will actually go online and play against other people, because I might be able to actually compete with them. Yeah. I've been playing FIFA games since they first came out in like '95, I think, and I still suck when I play against people online. So
isn't that the worst? You're feeling like you're so good. You're like, yeah, I beat everything. Woo! You go online, you just get your teeth handed back to you.
Yeah. It's not much fun at all.
Yeah. No.
Is 2016 going to be compatible with your generation, or is it going to be for next gen only?
It'll probably be next gen only. So the question is whether or not I go up to an Xbox One, which, from the news that came out today. Way to put a segue in there, Mr. Kip. Even though you probably
I do what I can. I do what I can.
Xbox One will be backward compatible with Xbox 360 and XBLA games
There you go.
starting with an update that's supposed to be today. But then I was reading that it's not going to be for everybody on today. It's going to be for a certain group of people, like developer type people.
Yeah.
So they'll get it today, but by the holiday, by the end of the year, it should be for everybody who has Xbox One, which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
Dear Microsoft, if you would have done this from the beginning, I would have bought a One instead of a PS4.
Well,
yeah, you screwed the pooch.
Well, and here's the thing, and this is kind of like, I don't want to be like the negative Nancy, like the Debbie Downer, actually, did you know kids are dying in Africa? I mean, but this is evidence that Microsoft wasn't winning the console war.
Yeah.
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 I mean, because they were adamant 2 years ago, no backwards compatibility. We're not talking about it. Let's move on.
Well, they were also adamant that you had to have a Kinect with it, and it won't work without the Kinect.
Oh, and live. You needed live too.
Yeah, and then there was adamant that you had to have an internet connection, and then it was adamant that you had to do this, and adamant that you had to do that, and they backpedaled on everything. This is just one more thing that they've backpedaled on.
Right.
But in a sense, I don't think this is a full backpedaling, because they've been trying to open up their entire catalog to the Xbox One using the streaming service. Mm-hmm. And I think what's happened is they've realized that doesn't work.
Well, and I think honestly the market for Xbox games, I had popped into not even a national chain, it was a local pre-owned video game dealer here in Omaha, and a lot of 360 games are still holding their value. And I was like, that's weird. I kind of figured, almost 2 years into a new, console life, that these older games would be pretty much garbage. Not garbage, but cheap,
Right.
And then he's like, no, actually, a lot of people are still buying 360 games.
Yeah.
So they're holding their value. People want them still. And so this is probably a thing where Microsoft realizes Sony, at least as of now, kind of has a little bit of market lead on console purchases, and this is a way, it seems, for them to really kind of get a leg up on Sony, because Sony right now has PlayStation Now,
mm-hmm.
which is a subscription service that allows you to pay them a monthly fee, kind of like Netflix, to be able to play PlayStation 3 and 2 and even PlayStation 1.
Have you used that?
I've not. I've gotten the invite, but I haven't used it.
See, and I haven't heard a whole lot of great things about it.
I've heard it's kind of a rip.
Yeah, that you're paying a little bit too much and you're not getting everything that they keep saying you're going to get.
Right.
And on top of that, it's a huge drain on your internet bandwidth. Like, it sucks up bandwidth.
Well, you're streaming a game.
Yeah, and that it just, a lot of people don't have the they don't have the bandwidth either available or currently in their house. It would be, actually the one person in our group here that should really try it is Kip over there with his Google Fiber, and see if it's amazing.
There you go.
That's right. I don't know how to tell you guys this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
Well, Geek Vice.
But that's kind of the did Eddie?
Eddie froze.
Are you back, Eddie? Test. Nope, he's dead in the water.
Who is his cell phone provider?
Yeah,
they have let him down.
But I think that's kind of I think that's where Microsoft saw, Sony's got this out there, it's not working quite right, and they just jumped on it and just put this update out there. It's also, I think it's interesting that after all their screaming and yelling that no, it just wouldn't work, it's just a software patch that they're putting out there for this.
Yeah, and I'm really hoping that does something in the long run for both consoles, because I've still got PlayStation 2 games and things like that unless I plug in my PlayStation 2, they're never going to be used again. So.
Right. Right. Yeah, and that's I hope that works for them. Ish wants to get Smexy Eddie back.
I'm sending him an invite.
It's coming, Ish. Hold on now. I hope that the mad rush of people who go out and get Xbox
You're
Ones.
sideways. There you are.
I crashed.
You crashed.
That was a total crash.
That's weird.
At least you weren't like in the middle of a bad facial expression when it froze
I know,
on
it would
you.
have been like 2 middle fingers come up.
Or you eating a banana, which would be just
that would have been awesome.
Yeah, that would have made the Facebook page.
Yep, we would have screen grabbed that one. No, but I hope what this does. This is what I'm hoping for from this backwards compatibility thing, because I'm still not completely sold that I'm going to get an Xbox One, but what I'm curious about is when the Xbox 2 comes out, or the Xbox Next, or whatever they're going to call the next one, when the next gen comes out, they look at this.
10 years, dude.
Hey, if it is in 10 years, fine. But if they look at this and go, you know what, we had a big boom when we said backwards compatibility, then why don't we just put it in from the beginning? Because that's
Right.
what people want.
I agree.
And you're not going to stop people from going and buying new games, because they're going to want the better graphics on a new game. If they have a game that's coming out that's either Xbox 360 or Xbox One, they're coming out for both, and you have an Xbox One, you're going to get the Xbox One game.
Right.
But it just allows people to go, oh, hey, I've got 15, 16 games up here that I really like to play, and I can just plug them in and play. That's what people want.
I mean, the thing is, and the market's kind of figured that out now, and I think that's what it does is, they've kind of tapped, we're all in our, mid-late, maybe even mid-late 30s, maybe early 40s, I don't know, I'm guessing. But
yeah, let's go with early 40s and see how that works.
But the thing is, the market realizes that there's a thing for nostalgia. And I do want, maybe I don't play it every day, but I'd like the option to fire up the original Tekken from PlayStation 1 and go a few rounds with my kid or whatever, just to show, hey, look how fun this game was. And
Yeah.
every so often it's fun to fire up an old game. And the notion that, this is the new one, so it can't play the old one. That's just, they build, they obviously are lying because it's an update. They're applying an update and it works. I'm a big fan of backwards compatibility only because I myself, I'm kind of lucky, maybe / spoiled, but we had, for a while in our house, we had 2 Xbox 360s.
Oh, nice.
Well, I had mine that I purchased, but my oldest had saved up her money and bought her own 360.
Oh, okay.
So when it came time to get rid of one, when the Xbox One was around, she basically sold her interest in the 360 to me for a cell phone. So I took that 360, traded it in, got a Xbox One for essentially under $100, and then we had a hard drive and games and all sorts.
Oh, okay.
But
I'm like, damn.
But yeah, it was like $75, $80. I got an Xbox One, and but I kept the other 360 specifically because I have a stack of 360 games I just don't want to get rid of. They're good games.
Yeah. I get it. I get it.
So a lot of people say backwards compatibility is a niche or niche. I don't agree. I think a lot of gamers would like the option to at least play a game enjoyed.
I think if they would have come out of whichever company whichever one of those companies would have come out of the gate saying, this is backwards compatible at least one generation back. So your Xbox 360 would be able to play on the Xbox One, or your PS3s played on your PS4. Whichever one would have done that would have won the whole thing.
Yep. I think the bigger mistake they both made in the beginning was that they didn't kind of tap into their existing franchises that were already established. So people were kind of left hanging a little bit when the One and the PS4 were announced. And PS4 kind of came out of the gate swinging with games like Infamous, Second Son, and a few other like known franchises that are PlayStation exclusives that are well done. I mean, they really are. But that may be why. I mean, PlayStation gained a foothold.
We have another friend of ours, Jason, just posted software emulation of a console can be very tricky. Sure, it can be tricky. That's why they pay these guys a lot of money to do all this, and the fact that it's just a software patch tells me that it's really not that hard.
You know what else is tricky? Kinect.
Which is a complete waste of money.
Now, Kinect is good for a handful of games, but it's not good for it's your replacement of everything. Throw away your controller. Why do you need this? but I mean, yeah, it's tricky, but like you said, they're handling it with a update.
Yeah.
They're not sending you a hardware thing. Now, guys, solder this to your Xbox One.
Or here is this special CD-ROM that you're going to have to attach via the USB port in order to play your Xbox 360 games. It's really just a software thing, and that's why they pay those guys the big bucks. If Sony, let's put it this way, who came out first? It was the Xbox One that came out first, right?
Yeah.
So Xbox One comes out, no backwards compatibility. If Sony would have waited, they could have waited an entire year, and if they put out the PS4 with backwards compatibility, being able to play the PlayStation 3, it would have destroyed Xbox One in a day.
Mm-hmm.
It would have equaled everything Xbox One did in a day, and then it would have just been gravy on top of that. That is my honest opinion on backwards compatibility. Everyone wants to be able to play the games that they've already spent hundreds of dollars buying.
The people who are going to pre-order consoles, certainly.
Yeah, because those are the people, the ones pre-ordering the consoles are the ones that still have their entire collection. I could go downstairs into my basement and pull up my gigantic tote that still has all my original Nintendo games, all my original N64 games, all my original PlayStation 2 games. I've got PlayStation games down there. I didn't have an Xbox, the Xbox. I didn't have that one. I just went with the 2 or the 360.
The big one.
Yeah.
Hey, I could go downstairs and pull up my Atari 2600 if you like.
Yeah.
If you want to compare old school.
You guys are awesome.
Well, and that's what I mean.
Keep going.
People keep their old games because they like their old games, and there you go. Look at that. What is in the cartridge?
That would be my children jamming papers in there. Because why not?
Well, because it probably doesn't work now anyway, right?
No, it functions. Oh yeah.
Look at that.
I need to take mine apart and actually clean it out because it doesn't work anymore. So.
Anyway, yeah, I mean, the people who are going to pre-order consoles, the people who are going to kind of be the people who watch E3,
yeah,
are going to want backwards compatibility in some form. Maybe not every game, but they're going to want the option to be able to play old games at some point. It's a big move on Microsoft. I don't see Sony matching it, I'll be honest, because they'd have to scrap PlayStation Now. I just don't see them doing it.
Yeah.
Are they getting enough business out of PlayStation Now, though?
I don't think so, but they'd have to admit they were wrong. and they won't do that with the PlayStation Vita or the PSP. So they'll do.
That is
Well,
true.
that's a valid point. Yes.
That
They
is
just keep
true.
making those things, man.
Yeah.
I
Well, and
bought one too. Don't judge me.
Ish
Don't
wants
judge
to
me.
Ish wants to bash you a little bit here, Eddie. She says that she likes her Connect because she likes to get down with some Black Eyed Peas experience.
Dude, I love Connect. We have Just Dance 3 and 4. I love Connect for what it is, but it doesn't replace. You're not gonna play a shooter like this, you know. Pew,
Yeah.
pew, pew.
Yeah, exactly. So
See, that would be a great podcast video for you and Doug, is to do dance on the Connect in front of the camera and
I'll do it.
Put that up on YouTube. That would be fantastic.
There's video. I'll have to dig it up on Facebook, but I think I posted a video of me and my daughter playing Just Dance at some point, so I'll have to dig that sucker up.
there you go.
I love it.
There you go. Well, you know, we've spent a lot of time on E3, but I still want to get into this whole Hatred game. And yes, the game is called Hatred. Do you guys know? Do you guys know where this came from and how this all started?
Like the origins of Hatred, the game.
Yeah, or what started all this big controversy?
Well, I guess before we go into Hatred, the game too much, I wanted to finish off by saying I was teeing off on Sony quite a bit, but I still do enjoy the PS4 quite a bit. So.
Well, yeah, because you're one that has both the consoles, don't you?
I'm a day walker. I have both.
You really are a special cat.
I
He
know.
is a special cat. And I sent him a message one day saying, all right, Xbox One or PS4, go. And do you remember this?
I do.
And he said he prefers the PS4 over the Xbox One. So
Yeah.
do you still believe that today?
Did I? If I remember right, I said it was by a narrow margin. Was that right? Like.
That is correct.
Yeah, I will say it is only because of I like the PS4's interface better. I really do. I think it's more intuitive. It's a little more clean, and
Yeah.
I'll have to say what I think. I think the exclusives for PlayStation, in my opinion, tend to be better than the Xbox exclusives, but that's just my opinion.
Well, and that's going to be something to watch for within the in the next next year, because a lot of the stuff, and I haven't seen Sony's press conference from today because they ran this evening, and I haven't had a chance to go back and check in on that. But Microsoft had, I want to say there was, in one of the live streams I was listening to, they said 15 or 16 exclusives for the Xbox One and Microsoft. So that's a pretty big deal. It's just whether or not it's what Sony got. Do they have 15 and 15 better games?
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll just have to watch and see, and we'll talk more about E3 next week when all this other stuff, and I actually have time to go through and look at all the stuff.
Play The Last of Us, John. Play it.
Yeah.
I'm doing what I can. I've actually gotten more into Metal Gear Solid 5.
There you go.
Which was one of the exclusives for PlayStation Plus.
Yep.
And I'm loving the heck out of the game, probably for all the wrong reasons. But
I don't know what the reasons are.
And that is the first part of this. You've got to rescue some people from a prison camp in Cuba.
Oh.
And my goal is to kill every enemy combatant on the base just to see if they're infinite or if they actually did program a number of people on the base.
Oh, nice. So
Yeah.
break the game.
So that's why I'm enjoying it. I'm just sneaking around and stabbing people in the back or whatever, and trying to make my presence unknown. Why I just wipe out hundreds of people.
Just kill the whole island. Nice.
I am, and if there's nobody left standing, then I can just rescue everybody and feel good about it. If not, if they just keep coming, then I'll know, well, this is just Infinite, and I'll just have to actually play the game like you're supposed to play it.
You got to
Right.
keep us updated on that one.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how
Now-
that goes.
I'm up to about 50 people right now.
That's pretty impressive. And you haven't been caught, so that's actually really impressive.
Well, I have died a few times because I'm stupid. Because sometimes I just get impatient. It's like, I'm going to just run across this road, a spotlight picks up on me, and then all hell breaks loose.
Yeah.
But I have been going from tower to tower, taking guys out.
Nice.
I first started out and I didn't want to kill anybody. They give you a pistol with a tranquilizer dart.
Yep.
And I was putting people to sleep right and left and doing what I was supposed to do. And then I ran out of ammo. And now
Has
it's
to kill you.
now it's like, oh, now it's on like Donkey Kong. And I
You're like,
actually rescued one of the people, and I threw the person over my shoulder, and I ran and set off all the alarms. And then when people got to the point where they could kill me, I drop the person I'm carrying, wipe everybody out, pick them back up, and take off running again. I must have took 20, 25 people out just on that sprint. It was fantastic.
file that under things that would never work in real life.
Exactly.
Which
Well,
is
the first time I did it,
awesome.
all the shots hit the person I was carrying and
Yeah.
killed the person.
Sponge.
So then I figured out I guess got to stay close to cover, drop that person behind like a Jersey barrier or something, wipe everybody out, pick her back up, and take off running. It's a beautiful thing.
It's even
Soak up the
better that it's a
bullets.
her.
So hatred might be right up my alley. You never
I was
know.
gonna say, sounds like your game.
Yeah, there you go. So, all right. Well, back to hatred. Are we done with E3?
Sure, why not?
All right. So, this has been going on for almost a year, and 8 months, I guess. And you know, it's it's kind of interesting. I'll kind of give like a little bit of a backstory on this game. It was October of 2014 that the developer released this trailer for they call it an isometric third-person shooter, and it basically just showed a guy going around killing everybody and everything. And I believe one of the quotes that was used in the trailer is, "This is the time of vengeance, and no life is worth saving." You know, and I kind of watched it, and I'm like, you know, this looks a little over the top. It had its realistic tones, but it didn't. For some reason, it didn't feel like a realistic game. But it was at least bad enough to set off Steam, of all people, to actually remove them from their developers or from their platform, their game retail platform. And that caused an even bigger uproar, because that's, you know, people were complaining that Steam was censoring their games, and that's, you know, not good, and against what Steam kind of stands for, giving everybody a chance for this. And so Steam put it back up there, and I believe they tried to put an AO rating on this game so that, you know, you're supposed to be over the age of 18 to purchase it. But you're supposed to be over the age of 18 to buy a mature rated game as well.
That's why it's a moot point in a way.
Yeah. So, and that doesn't really work. I don't know that this game is being actually released anywhere other than Steam, because I know PlayStation and Xbox both won't allow it. the Steam Greenlight program received a whole bunch of votes to actually have it move forward, which is why it happened. So, what do you guys think? Have you seen any of the trailers or any of the gameplay footage from this game?
I have watched the trailer you sent me,
Yeah.
and it was one of those experiences where you watch it and you go, they pull all the cool stuff out for the trailers.
Yeah.
And if you're left going, meh, then the whole game isn't going to be all that. I'm not going to enjoy it a whole hell of a lot. So controversy, they can do all that all they want. I'm just probably never going to even try the game, to be honest. Edgar?
I'm a big freedom of speech guy. And I think people, make a game of anything you want it to be. There's elf bowling out there, and
I used to play that.
You know what I mean? And there's hatred, and I mean, almost every person I know who's ever played Grand Theft Auto has gone around beating up hookers, running over people left and right, just with no, you know what I mean? They're like, oh, look out for this pedestrian, they're innocent. I mean, it's a game, and people play Grand Theft Auto much like it sounds like almost like hatred is kind of play. I mean, with wanton disregard of all the people in the game.
Right.
And hatred is just, in my opinion, it's the same setup. It's just it has a story behind it of like he's a sociopath and he's gonna kill everybody, and it's kind of designed to get a reaction. And like I said, I'm a big free speech guy. Like the idea being, if the market wants it, it's going to do well. If the market hates it, it's not going to do well. And that's how it goes. Now, myself, my own thing, I'd never pick up a game like that. It's just not something that I think has any artistic value, if you will. But I think the same thing of Grand Theft Auto in a way. It's like, it's just kind of a thing. It's like I acknowledge its existence, but I don't necessarily think it's something that I myself would enjoy playing. But does it need to exist, or is it good that it exists? I mean, it exists. It's like any other pieces of art. I mean, there's music out there I don't care for either, but that doesn't mean it shouldn't exist.
Well, okay, on that same sense then, I mean, Xbox, Microsoft, and Sony have both said this game will not be available on their platform. They will not allow it. Do you think less of those people and more of Steam, because Steam has said, okay, we're sorry we took it off. Yeah, you're right. Everyone should be allowed to make whatever game they want, and if the public wants it, which is what their Greenlight system is for, it's a voting system. If it gets enough votes, then it gets passed and gets put in there.
I'll be honest, I actually think less of Steam for putting it back on. I mean, they made a decision to remove it and then gave in. I mean, they clearly removed it because they felt like they wanted to remove it, whether that was to protect their investors or their board or their own IP. That's their own decision, but they initially removed it and then put it back after the fact, kind of putting out the message like, we don't really know where we stand on this. At least Microsoft and Sony are like, listen, we own this platform. We make the decision what types of games we're going to have, what types we're not. At least they kind of stayed true to their principles, and we're like, we're not going to put that game up here. I mean, the bottom line for this type of game is that if you want to get it, you can go to the developer website and download a copy. I'm sure that's possible.
Mm-hmm.
So people who really want to play the game can find a way to get a hold of the game. It's not like Steam has to provide a conduit for people to do that. But, it's kind of a mixed bag. If Steam's whole point is we're going to publish whatever it is people make, I mean, they're opening up a pretty big gate there. And they chose to remove it only to put it back later. It's kind of wish-washy in my opinion, I guess.
That I agree. I see where you're coming from, and I kind of agree with you in that sense. Steam didn't kind of give us a clear message.
Yeah. Pull it and say we don't like it. It's not going to stay.
Yeah, but I kind of also give Steam a little bit of credit there because that what they did show is that this thing got what was it, 13,000 votes on their Greenlight program.
That's a lot.
And which was enough to say, yep, it can move forward past the Greenlight and into their developer platform and actually get made. And that's when they pulled it. And then I kind of give them a little bit of credit because they showed that, yes, just because we don't like something, if it gets enough votes, we're still following by the rules that we set forth. We're not even above the people that do the Greenlight program. That the developers that go out there, the game makers that go out and put their games in the Steam Greenlight and market it and push it to get people to vote yes for it, or make something good enough or intriguing enough or whatever in this case that gets this many people to vote yes. You know what? Just because we don't like the game does not mean we have the right to override the 13,000 people that voted that they wanted the game made.
Could they have gone through that whole Greenlight process before they pulled it initially?
I think they did go through the Greenlight process before it got pulled.
So they pulled it.
It went through the whole Greenlight program, which I think is just the Steam Greenlight. I think is just putting out like a concept, maybe a trailer. Nothing.
Feel for what?
Yeah, nothing completed, and then people just vote on it, yes or no, whether or not they want the game to actually be made. If it gets enough votes, then I don't know if it's more of just a gauge type thing for the developer. They can put it through Greenlight and see if somebody will offer them money to make it, type thing, or if it's get enough interest. I'm pretty sure these people were going to make this game no matter what.
Yeah, there's all sorts of games out there, stuff I don't want to even talk about that's out there as a game. It files under, and my wife and I have this discussion all the time. She's just by the sheer subject matter of the thing, she kind of has a knee-jerk reaction and she's accidentally pro-censorship and doesn't realize it. When she's like, oh, no, I don't want that around. And I'm like, well, I don't want it around either, but I also don't want to live in a world where people they're told they can't create something because a group doesn't like it.
Well, the best thing you can do is just not buy it.
That's the point.
And we should be given the opportunity to say yes or no.
Right.
And that's where I do agree with you, Eddie, is people have the right to be assholes. They have the right to make a game like this.
Yeah.
We just have the right not to buy it, not to play it.
Sure.
Not to support it.
Right. You don't want to draw weird lines that don't exist, but where does the line stop? I really enjoy. I reference Gears of War. Gears of War is a very gory shooter. When you shoot a alien in their head explodes. And it's a very visceral, in my opinion, cool payoff for a headshot. Hey, his head blew up. Yay! But if someone else who was really opinionated about that kind of thing saw that, they would go, oh my God, you're a sociopath. Look at what you just did.
Yeah, and I just
cool.
And I just admitted to playing Metal Gear Solid and just wiping out the entire map.
The entire map.
Just for shits and grins.
And it's these are video games. They're not real, but the idea being like this is how you get your kicks. But the point is the whole when this debate's as old as time as far as gaming is concerned is like does simulated violence equal real violence? Does that mean this person wants to do this stuff for real? I don't think it necessarily does. But I don't want to have a precedent made where a creative entity creates a thing that I myself don't necessarily find attractive, but now I've set a precedent for other things to be influenced by that.
Right.
Everything from you could take that and apply that brush to anything when you get down to it.
Yeah, and and Microsoft and Sony have the right to say, hey, we don't want this.
Yeah.
We don't want this associated with us.
Yeah.
Ishibel brings up a good point, though. What if the game starts making money hand over fist and Microsoft and Sony decide we don't want to miss out on this gravy train, start carrying it? Are you going to change the way you feel about your console?
No. I mean, the market decides. If there's a market for it, then that's how it goes. And being self-aware enough to know what you like and don't like, you can still. I mean, the same thing goes for cable TV. I mean, there's things on TV. I don't have cable TV, but even on Netflix, there's shows that I look at. Like I'll use this as an example. I don't watch gory movies. I'm not a big fan of them. I mean, yeah, I'll play Gears of War, but for some reason to me, that's a quick one shot and you're on to the next thing. Gory movies kind of have a long, drawn out kind of story built around, amplified gore, and for me, I just don't really like watching them, and so I just don't watch them. They exist, they're a thing. I see commercials for them all the time, but I just don't partake in them. And I don't have any negative opinions about Paramount or Universal. They're free to do what they want. I'm just free to not take part in it.
Yeah, I agree with you there. We have a conversation a lot here at home about things like Minority Report and how in that movie they had those people who could see into the future basically, and they would arrest people before they actually committed the crime. And my argument has always been, like it or not, people have the right to commit crimes here in America.
Yeah.
They have to pay the price for it, but you have the right to be a fuck up. And so these companies have a right to make this game, whether we like it or not, whether Microsoft or Sony decide to carry it or not. They have the right to do this. And we have the right to ignore it.
Yeah.
And that's the beautiful thing about living here. And controversy aside, I don't see the big deal. Yes, they're making a game. It's in poor taste, but that's what they chose to do, and they have the right to do it. And I have the right to ignore it and hope it goes away.
Yeah, I 100% agree. It's tacky. It's gross. I don't like. There was a game that actually made it to consoles, which actually isn't too far removed from the premise of Hatred. I forget the name of the game, but it was about
Postal.
The guy who goes to prison, right?
Yeah.
And he hears these voices in his head.
I think that was Postal.
No, it wasn't Postal.
No.
It was, he goes to jail for the murder of his wife. It might be his whole family. And he's in jail, but there's a reasonable doubt that he actually did it. And then it comes into the game that you're possessed with these demons that are like telling you to do bad things. And as you walk through the game, and this made it to consoles. I mean, it's on the 360 or the original Xbox, one of the two. But as you go through the game, you'll hear different voices kind of whispering to you in the game to do different things, like, oh, you should kill that guy. And it like plays into the notion of being psychotic. And it kind of rides that line. Is it called Manhunt?
I don't know that
I have no idea. I don't think I've ever heard of this.
My brother-in-law played it. He and I had a discussion about this because it really bothered him. He was like, man, I quit playing it. It started making him feel gross. Just the whole experience he didn't really enjoy. And that was kind of my point, was like, this game made it to consoles, and it kind of rides the line of, like, I want to say it's Manhunt. He said there was a scene in the game he had to kill a guy with a plastic bag. And it was in a jail. Like, he wrapped it around his head and was like, "Argh!" The guy, you know. Do you like my reenactment there?
That was beautiful.
It's a Rockstar. Manhunt is a Rockstar game, so it wouldn't surprise me.
I think it was Manhunt.
Yeah, Jason thinks it's Manhunt as well. So
yeah, and the point is, it's very visceral, very graphic, extremely violent, and it made it away with an M rating. And that game is out there; it exists. And I said, I just have no desire to play it. There's games now that I've played, and I felt, I'll be honest, I traded in tonight. I traded in Mortal Kombat because as much as I like fighting games, after a while, I was like, that's a bit much even for me. Like, I just couldn't get behind it. So I'm with you 100%. I think artists, which I think game creators are, should be allowed to create whatever the heck they want to make, but it's also our decision to support it, you know. And if it gets supported, it gets supported. I mean, Manhunt's an example. Mortal Kombat's an example. I just, you know, not my thing.
Well, and there's a really good sign that if you don't like hatred and you don't want it to be supported, there's a pretty good possibility that thing's not going to get supported because the reviews for it are that it's absolutely horrible.
It's probably a bad game. That's what I was next.
And from the gameplays, like, I went when we were going to talk about this, and I put this on the list.
I need to plug into power. I'm losing power.
Uh-oh.
Power, Eddie. Those boards don't work on water.
I put in a bunch of, you know, I went and looked up a bunch of videos or tried to find videos, gameplay of this thing, because I'm not going to buy the game. I don't want to waste my money on this. But one of the things that I looked at watching this game was that it looked a lot like Asteroids.
Sorry, out of context.
It's awesome watching Eddie walk through his house, too.
I'm in my house.
It's like MTV Cribs.
Yeah.
That's the wrong light switch.
But this game's, you guys remember Asteroids from, you know, the olden days?
That game was so violent?
Yeah, where all you have is a ship in the middle that you could move around, and you have asteroids coming at you, and you're trying to shoot the asteroids and basically blow them up so that before they destroy your ship.
Yeah, man.
Now,
calling it a ship is a stretch. It was a triangle.
It was a triangle. Okay, now take that game, take your triangle and put a person there, and replace all the asteroids with cops, and replace space with buildings and streets and things you could go in and out of. That's hatred.
Oh, I thought that was going to be Grand Theft Auto.
No, that's hatred. That is what the game looks like.
So it's just a stream of police and people running at you, and you just shoot them.
Right. Right. There's no, like, I have, every review that I've read, the storyline that they try to put in there is so lame and wholly, you know, just like gigantic plot holes. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't, you know, there's nothing to the game. It is really just asteroids with a different skin on it. And to me, I actually look at that and go, you know what? I actually like this developer, this game maker. I will probably now not, like, I'm going to keep an eye out for games that he's made. And if he's making a game, I'm probably going to avoid it because he couldn't even take the time he wanted to make this thing that bad, and he couldn't even take the time to make it that bad. He had to just put a new skin on asteroids.
Or on the flip side, he wanted to see if he could drum up enough publicity by the story alone and then kick out some, you know, 8-bit POS and see what he got as a reaction, you know?
Yeah.
You know, I may play this game if they use the 8-bit sound effects from Asteroids.
Boop, boop, bitty,
There you
boop,
go. Hey,
boop, boop.
you know, the nice thing about computer games is it can probably mod it in.
Probably true.
You know,
People who
the
are
same,
smarter than I.
you know, John and Kip, I'm sorry, Kip and Morph and I have been around long enough. I mean, it goes in weird cycles where first it was, well, first before us, before we were born, it was comic books. Then it was heavy metal / D&D. Remember that with
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons?
Oh, yeah.
Don't let your
Yep.
kids play Dungeons and Dragons. They'll become warlocks.
Yeah.
Devil worshippers.
And if they play D&D while listening to Ozzy Osbourne, the whole
Oh.
thing, society collapses.
It's over. You're the devil. You're not even the devil worshiper. You're the devil now. But, and then it turned into video games, and it's like, I agree that art, my opinion here, okay, that art is at its best when it's doing something that pushes humanity forward, you know?
hmm
But art, and I mean, and Ish is an author. I mean, she kind of probably has, maybe she has her own opinions on this too. But, you know, in that realm of creativity, if you start putting limits on stuff, you can't do true art at that point. You know, you have limits already on you.
Well, you know, then we just end up with posters of Joseph Stalin all over the city.
Well, you know, either that or, you know, pick your religious figure. He'll be all over. He or she'll be all over town too.
Yeah. Well, you know, people need posters of me everywhere. So there's your new religion.
I support
Enjoy.
Kip posters all over town. Yeah.
I'll have to have the chin up and, you know, something like this. And
Morph as a, you know, one dad to another. You know, would I want the trap for a lot of people when they ask this is, would you want your children playing this game? Of course I wouldn't. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. But
no.
the game's not built for my. It's the same thing. Somebody made a comment. They got mad. They got mad at me because I bought Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah. You're a
And
grown-up.
and I'm like, but it's for me.
Yeah.
I'm in my mid-30s. I'm good. I'm allowed to play those games.
There's lots of things in my house that aren't for kids. Beer, video games, R-rated movies,
Yeah.
other things.
Thing is I'm the one with no kids, and I probably have more kid stuff in my house.
Yeah.
Well, but that's and that's
Well,
kind of
like this, you know, here's my Rock Band set. So
Look at that. I love Rock Band.
well.
You got Rock Band on which system?
360.
I'm bringing some save files, baby.
I'm liking this idea.
What's that?
I'm liking this idea.
Wasn't that a great feature when Xbox 360 came out with the ability to save stuff to a USB drive?
Absolutely.
I was so happy when they did that.
And to go with the theme that always happens in our house, the Rock Band version we have is Lego Rock Band, because
Nice.
you know we don't stray too far.
I might need to bring the real one.
I have one of them, and I never put the disc in. I'm always playing the Lego one.
Why mess around?
Yeah. What's funny about the Rock Band games? I know this is totally getting off subject, but I'm actually a drummer, and I cannot play the drums worth a shit on Rock Band.
Oh, I have friends who are very very good guitar players, and they're like, I can't play guitar on this game at all. It's terrible.
Yeah.
We have to swap roles and.
I suck at the drums. I do okay, but I want to play every note, and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Or if you don't
Although-
have it properly synced, then you're really screwed.
You gotta be careful. You gotta
Yeah.
play against the delay. You're like.
Yeah.
On the issue of censorship, though, Rock Band is a good example. I mean, there's some rock songs, at least on the full version of Rock Band. We have Rock Band 3, and the cool portion of that was you could actually keep like adding the songs, so you could move all the songs from Rock Band 1, 2, and stack them up on top of 3.
Right.
We got like 300 songs in this game. It's crazy.
Dang.
But there's some rock songs that have some, adult lyrics in them. And in Rock Band, it actually cuts them out. Like it'll like mute out certain words.
Oh, kind of like what they do on the radio.
Kind of like, yeah, it just gets quiet all of a sudden, you know. So
That's awesome.
it's interesting. Or they just like, yeah, you know the word's coming, and then you're like, whoa, hey, where'd the word go? What's going on?
So how many Dr. Dre or Snoop Dogg songs do they have on Rock Band?
Not that many. Not gonna lie.
No gin and juice.
No gin and juice.
Well, isn't there a DJ version
No
of this?
Ice-T songs. No F the Police. None of that.
Some Insane Clown Posse.
None. Weird, right?
Korn.
Like, looking all over for it. Also, a massive Genesis hole in GarageBand. Rock Band. I want to point that out. No Genesis songs at all. Bastards.
Well, that's that's a whole nother topic for us, because a lot, I remember when Rock Band first came out, and the controversy that was that, and it's like, well, but now you got all this music and all this licensing, and you should have this and you should have this, and
yeah,
like, well, we don't have the license for those. We can't play those. So for the longest time, you couldn't have Beatles stuff on Rock Band, and then they released the whole like Rock Band Beatles edition.
Which worked great for them, because you ended up having to pay a shit ton more money for the Beatles songs.
Well, what's so funny about those music games was, remember when the first Guitar Hero came out? Like, this was before any of this.
Yeah.
And I watched a friend playing this toy guitar, and I hooked up to his PlayStation, and I'm like, what are you doing? Why is there Speak and Spell plugged into your PlayStation, bro?
Yeah.
And it got huge, man. It just got so big so fast.
Yep.
The Activision effect, I suppose.
That it did. It did.
So yeah, I won't be downloading Hatred anytime soon.
Well, and I made the comment that it hasn't gotten good reviews because all the critics that I've seen have said that it's not very good, which Metacritic has it at 45 out of 100, so it's, failing. But when you go to Steam and you look at the user reviews, 78% of the 2,325 user reviews for this game are positive. So,
weird.
Yeah, that's a lot of people. A lot of people.
Maybe.
Yeah, a lot of people spent $20 for this game, and
that's $20.
It's $20.
That's expensive, man.
I'm pretty sure you can get Asteroids for free on the internet.
Yeah.
So you could just get that. I actually would be curious to see how hard it would be to reskin Asteroids with something else and make it similar to this. But maybe, make it like cheerful and happy. Like instead of shooting cops, you're shooting like you're a rainbow unicorn and you're shooting clouds. Make it like you're a healthy meal shooting down candy bars. There you go. Yeah. And that's what I'd be curious. I want somebody to make that and put that out there and see if you can get as much plug. Make it a birth control game. It'd be like a condom shooting down sperm. I don't know if that's really a good idea. I don't know. You're teaching how to not make babies. I know. I don't know that I want. I just don't want to have to deal with that one too. I made a couple laugh at the movie theater this weekend. We went and saw Jurassic World, and it is not a kids movie. Really? At all. Yes, it has dinosaurs. It is not a kids movie, and people brought a lot of kids. People brought their kids, 8 years old and younger, to this movie, and we walked out of the movie and. This couple was standing there and go like, "What did you think?" And I said, I liked it. It was great. And said, "Well, anything else?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "The people in there are like the best form of birth control ever." And just walked away, and you could hear those people laughing like, "What the fuck is this guy talking about?" But these people brought their kids in. Anytime the dinosaurs weren't on the screen, kids were bored and talking. It's like, wow.
best form of birth control ever, right there.
That's a lack of theater etiquette training right there.
Well, and the fact
It isn't, but these people are going to be the ones that let their kids buy hatred because
Yeah.
it's like, hey, little Jimmy wants it, let's get it for him.
Exactly.
He wants to express his hatred. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, it's exactly what we need.
But Mom, it's French. It's not hatred.
It's hatred.
Hatred. French.
So any more thoughts on hatred? Should we go ahead and wrap this up?
Yeah, I just think it's in poor taste, like John said, but I defend the right to make garbage.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So in other words, Eddie says keep making garbage.
Keep churning out the trash, boys.
And we'll keep ignoring it.
And it doesn't exist.
All right, guys. Well, Eddie, where if people want to go follow you and all the stuff you do, where do they need to go looking?
Oh my. Well, we're on Twitter. Look up. I believe it's just Doug Eddie or Doug. I think it's just Doug Eddie at Twitter.
Yeah, I think so too.
At Doug Eddie. We recently were able to finally get an actual domain going. So instead of Doug and Eddie Show.podbean.podcast.yourmama's whatever, it's just DougAndEddieShow.com. Hey!
Awesome.
Great.
Congratulations on that one.
Thank you. I was glad to get that wrapped up. And then also Facebook. Look us up. We recently wrapped up. I say recently. It still feels recently. About 2 weeks ago, wrapped up the Omaha Comic Con. And we probably running out of time tonight, but we can talk about it later.
Yeah, we will definitely have you back on to talk about that because that'll take up a lot more time.
Yeah, it was a great time. But yeah, look us up on there. We give a lot of pictures, and we still are interviewing guests from people that we met at Comic Con. So yeah, check us out, please. DougAndEddieShow.com.
There you go. You can. That's where you can find Doug and Eddie, and you can find us at geekvice.blogspot.com. See, we're not cool enough to have our own.
You'll
domain
get there,
yet.
though. I know it. You're there.
We're just cheap bastards. So.
No. $10, baby. $10 a year.
Yeah. You can follow us on Google Plus though for as long as that's around, which is not going to be that much longer, I'm sure. Or Facebook. Just search for Geek Vice. That's going to be around for a lot longer. You can follow Kip on Twitter at Kip Killigan. You can follow me on Twitter at GeekVice. And you can always email us and tell us how big of bullshit we are about all the stuff we talk about at geekvice@gmail.com. And on that note, we will see you next week.
Laters.
Bye, guys. Thank you.